man. I'm out of battery power and I'm out of coffee. Oh well, welcome back to the worm anyway. I see blue sky and the wind has dropped, at least for a little while. It's time to do some kitchening. Sure is pretty out there, isn't it? I just started saying something and then had to stop because my stomach growled so loud. It might be time for breakfast. It is the first beautiful winter morning we've had yet this season. It's just supposed to get colder and colder for the next few days, and then it'll get up back around like the freezing mark. But I sat in here all yesterday, did a whole bunch of computer work, which is why I have no battery power left. And now that it's not snowing, I guess I could start the generator and charge everything back up. But it is doing some gusting now and then. I'm going to get soaked today. It's not such a big deal when you've got a cabin and you've got drying racks and everything. But when you're nice and warm inside in the morning, it's kind of hard to get yourself to go out there. Especially standing out there for a half an hour cooking breakfast while snow's falling on your head. All right, enough whining. Even after all the years of living out here like this, I still can't remember how this is done. Every time we have a big season change. I can't leave water out here, but I still cook out here. So, you know, you crack some eggs, got egg on your fingers, you got to rinse your fingers off, and there's always that big blue jug there, but that has to come in all the time when it's really cold. So I can't remember, do I drag it out every single meal and then put it back? On a cold day, you couldn't leave it out here from breakfast till lunch. It would freeze, or the jug wouldn't freeze solid, but the nozzle would. I want to, when we get the kitchen done, the new kitchen done, I want to invent a way to keep water from freezing out there. Like maybe every time you cook, you leave the stove on for a few extra minutes, put a special pot on there and it circulates water up until, like, I don't know, we gotta have like 5 gallons or something, really insulated, warms it up a little bit, at least to keep it from freezing for, I don't know, overnight. That's the good stuff. That's the fun stuff to figure out. Tell you what, I'll do this. You guys go get started peeling the logs and we'll get together in an hour. You know how they make, well, you might not know, but they make bar oil for the chainsaw that's winter weight, because when normal bar oil gets down to like 20 degrees, it's just like sludge. I'm gonna become a billionaire by making winter weight toothpaste for people that brush their teeth outside in the winter. Don't take that idea, that's mine. God, I'm gonna be so rich. Like Scrooge McDuckin' it out here. Winter is definitely here and my nose won't stop running. My eyes won't stop watering. My hands are cold. It's interesting, if you're outside year round, your body just slowly gets used to the different temperatures. But if you get a big drop or big raise in the temperature, your body kind of fights to get used to it. Like I was just, you know, I'm washing my hands and washing my plates and stuff with ice water, so, you know, clearly it's not going to feel great on your hands. But a couple months from now, it doesn't bother my hands at all. What's going to suck today is to get my gloves all wet all day. All right, let's see. Let's make a plan here. Here's the kitchen. I got somewhere between 8 and 10 coats of motor oil, used motor oil on the tops of these, so I probably should have flipped them over. And then out here we got the 2 really fun logs. They'll be fun if I can mill them before they completely freeze. We got that aspen, which is heavy enough it's going to have to be milled in place. You know, these big ones, it does kind of suck when you have to kneel in the snow day after day. But that's probably 3 logs. And then we've got this one that I think is at least 4 logs. That's the monster. That's the one I really want to go after. If I got my choice, anything in the world I could do today, it'd be milling that log. But I gotta play mental games with myself. I gotta start with all these small ones. Anything that's aspen is only going to be flooring or roofing, so that's all going to be 1 inch. Anything that's pine, fir, spruce, yeah, it's just going to be some kind of framing. So we'll do all those 1.5 inch, and then what's left over, oh, cedar could only be, I think, only be flooring that's not underneath that roof that's going to get, you know, weather year round. I guess that's 1 inch. It'd be kind of nice to make it a little thicker, and then you don't get any flex in between the floor joists. Of course, you can just put the floor joists closer together, and then you don't have that issue. Like 1 1/4 would be perfect. But like when I mill stuff up like this, I get however much I need, and I'm halfway through a log, or I got 2 logs left. I just mill everything, throw it in a pile, and I just end up with so many different thicknesses of so many different species. You know, like the first thing I think I built out here was my tent deck. That's all 1.5-inch lumber on top of it, so it's beastly. But of course the log joists are a couple feet apart on this side. I think they're even further apart on the other side. So the flooring needs to be quite thick. The man cave, I think, is 1-inch aspen for the roof. All the siding was 1 inch. All the flooring was 1 inch. I gotta switch hands holding the camera. My fingers are cold. And then the cabin was the first thing we built that I switched that up and went to 3/4 inch. Because you have an inside and an outside wall, and putting 2 inches of lumber in a wall is just like, it seemed unnecessary. Yeah, so again, 1-inch aspen for the roof, 3/4 inch here, 3/4 inch inside. And then of course all the framing was like 2x4s we made. Floor framing, same 2x4 or 2x whatever, so 1.5-inch thick. Oh, by the way, you like it? Haven't fallen once yet this year. I mean, it's only snowed for a day, so there's still time. Well, just because it's in the way, we'll go through this pile first. Let's see what we got. I think cedar, spruce, spruce. That's a nice cedar, cedar. And then these 3 logs are the ones with the friggin' enormous woodpecker holes. And they're all rotty inside. I just kind of hated to burn them, because sometimes you can get a couple boards off of here and a couple boards off of there. Here comes the snow out of the trees again. I don't know if you guys remember, but like most of these big building projects I do, I kind of like cut a few trees, mill them up, do a little building, cut a few more trees. That's how I did it the first couple years. But since I soared, I had to plan out this kitchen. I have some idea of the amount of lumber I want, and it's way easier to move and peel and mill if I do it all before it's frozen. So here's the thing. Please, please don't let me build anything until every one of those logs is milled up. Can you do that? Can you do that for me? I'd appreciate it. Well, I think we're just going for the big saw. Even the small logs, you know, I start using a sensible saw and I cut a couple boards and then I just decided to go for the big one. Let's go big right off the bat. Ooh, it's not completely froze. Oh man, I want to mill. I want to move this whole mountain. Sheesh, we got quite a trough here now. That's nice. Ooh, the slightly rotty logs that aren't frozen yet peeled nicely, don't they? All right, finally ready to take a chop. I'm sweaty, I'm tired, and I'm hungry again. You ever think that chainsaw milling looks easy? It is quite easy. It's just everything around it that you have to do that's exhausting. Oh yeah, some of these are garbage wood. Look at this. It's still screwed in. That's how floppy it is. Well, I'm gonna mill it up because sometimes it works for, like, I don't know, outdoor shelving or something. It is cold and it is blowy, and I'm tired of getting snow down my neck, but sure is beautiful. I know the people that have been watching my videos for years have seen more chainsaw milling than any person should see in their whole life. But I know there are always new people that are interested in getting into chainsaw milling. I'll see if I can find a link to a video I did a year or two ago if you want to cut out your own end plates and buy bars and everything and kind of get started. If I can find it, I'll put a link here and then I'll put one in the description if you want to see that video. Despite my slight bitching today, it's really freaking fun. I never get tired of it. Woo! Stop it! Yeah, that's garbage. Oh, we're not off to the best start today. I just milled up 2 logs. Neither of them are great. You could tell from the end there was something weird going on in that one. I don't know, it's kind of like marbled punkiness or something, but I mean, it's actually not punky. It's still pretty strong. This has got soft spots on the sides. This, you know, it looks all right because you rip the edges off to make 2x4s or 6s or 8s, but see, this part's closer to the outside of the log, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot of garbage in there. But it's a lot of work to cut trees, so we make it all into lumber and we'll use it for something down the road. All right, looks like we got 4 or 5 nice cedar logs and then the woodpecker homes. Man, I got a bunch of, I got so many trail cams all over the place here. I got quite a few of the cellular ones too. And on a day like this, they just go off non-stop. Just like every 20 minutes, I'm getting a ping. New picture, new picture, new picture, and it's spread out everywhere. Just clumps of snow falling out of the trees. Oh man, I don't know if I can lift this. Nope. It's another 2 or 3 days. Yeah, that's what you get. Everything just bounces off. It's frozen. There's no peeling now. Remember how the cedars in the right season, slide your knife under there, pry it up, and you could take it off on a sheet? I guess we're gonna mill it with the bark on for the rest of the year now. I think we're gonna have some really good stuff right here. Oh, heavy. Yep, that's a nice, big, perfect cedar log. Man, that's almost too big and perfect to cut up into flooring. Well, it's too late. It's up there now. We just gotta chop it up. Keep moving. Is it possible to chainsaw mill stuff without one of these? Maybe if you're a freaking pro, you can do it without making any mistakes, but not this guy. Beautiful log. 7 boards. It's about half the width. Yeah, so we only need about three to four of those logs to do the part of the kitchen deck that's going to get weather. We might have enough cedar here to do the whole floor in cedar. That would actually be preferable. You know, I think a couple years ago I looked up just to make sure that in northern Michigan, the Upper Peninsula, we only have white cedar. So I really don't get what's up with this super red orange stuff. There's such a giant difference in color, and there aren't a whole lot of in-between colors either. It's either almost white or this dark orange. Anybody know? Anybody got any theories? I kind of thought it was just a genetic thing, like some of the white cedars have a darker color, or it's where it was growing, how much sun it was getting, the nutrients, the water, something like that, but I don't think that's it. You know, if only there were a device to find out the answer to my questions. Probably we'll just never know. It's a new day and it's glorious outside. I woke up with an excitement for toast, and I've got some homemade jam here, a lot of butter. And I went out and one of the wires from my cheapo toaster was missing. So I spent about 20 minutes with a hoe just digging soil and leaves and snow and everything. And then just as I gave up, I looked over, and like 2 feet away, it was just sitting on top of the snow. So don't worry, I got fed. It's pretty calm right now. The sun's out. Every year, the first snow, if it's pretty like this, I like to hop on the four-wheeler and just drive some of the trails and, I don't know, just see the snow. Unfortunately, most of it blew out of the trees, so that takes it down 17% on the prettiness level. But want to come? You want to just cruise around for a sec? Which way should we go? Let's cruise down by the shooting range. Every time I drive by here, I just see all the down stuff that I'd like to get rid of and burn. I mean, that is actually blowdown. That's what the forest looks like. But damn it, I want to make the worm into a golf course. Woo! Oh yeah, that's pretty down there. It's not the direction I'm going, but love it when trees look like that. The boughs are all bent down with the weight. Deck is still standing. That's good. Man, it looks so much better since Tito and I put those extra scabs on there, those braces. Maybe we should go look at Tito's half cabin, quarter 10th cabin. That dude's been kind of busy lately, but we got to get him back out here to work on this thing. I want to work on this thing. I told him the other day, like, it's crossed my mind about 11 times to just come out here, start milling logs and frame the thing in. I probably would have worked on it a little bit, except I don't know how he wants it framed, and that's kind of the next thing to do. Anytime I see a nice pile of cedar logs like that, oh man, it just makes me want to mill them up. He's got windows sitting over there already. My uncle hooked him up with those. Some leftover lumber. Look at that nice cedar. That just, you hear it? Chop me real good. Oh yeah, remember I put the railing on the cabin? I was thinking about just letting it stick way out off the end. These are the little lanterns I was thinking of hanging on there. Oh, they actually do have wicks in them. This one's never been used. The other one did get lit up at some point. I think I got them super cheap as a set on like Facebook or Craigslist or something way back when. I might have to find a use for those, a better home. This is looking straight away from the deer castle, but this frickin' camera must have gone off 30 or 40 times in the last 24 hours, and only 2 of them were deer. I'm guessing it was all the snow out of these trees. You know, a little blob falls, turns the camera on. Another blob falls, ad nauseum. That means too much in French. It's really pretty with the super light snowfall right now. I don't even know where that snow's coming from. Oh, we're gonna pick up some lumber while we're down here, some logs. I don't really want to have to move all this lumber an extra time, so if I put it on one of my stashes now, I'm going to have to transport it all again, pick it all up again, move it to the kitchen. So I'm going to make a new little lumber stash over by where we're building. Set this up before it snowed. I can't really tell what's underneath here. Guess we'll just guess. Yeah, should have moved this too. You don't really need your lumber pile that high up off the ground in the summertime, but if you get a lot of snow, every time you pull the tarp off, the snow just sits next to it, sits next to the pile, and then after a while, your wood pile's like in a giant snow hole, and it's hard to get all the snow cleared off of it. So I find this works nicely. I got them all done. It's been, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 days since I picked up the camera. I've just been milling out here in the cold, and I was whipped. Got up this morning nice and early, ate my breakfast early, came outside, looked left, looked right, took all my snow stuff off, went and took like a 2-hour nap. Kind of destroyed. Well, you know, when I say I got all this milled up, yeah, I got a lot of it milled up. I did put the 3 biggest cedar logs aside, which I'm probably going to have to mill up into floorboards or something, but I don't know, it's such good furniture lumber if I need it. And I know you're thinking, Ryan, what about those big woodpecker-eaten pine logs? Well, I didn't mill those either. They were just too destroyed, so I just pulled them aside. I spent my time on stuff that had a better likelihood of being usable, and man, I bet even close to half the stuff I milled up is just, I don't know, it's not garbage, but it's 1.5 steps up from it. So finally I get to chop into this pine log. I can't wait. And I think I measured it out before and put like little hash marks where I needed to cut it off. Just looking at my plans to make sure I didn't cut this whole thing up into like 12 footers and then only need 8 footers or something. Looks like I didn't do the math, but I think I need about somewhere about a dozen 12 footers and somewhere around 10 footers or something like that. So the 12 footers will be for the floor. They'll be going this way. That's 12 feet from there to there. So we need, I don't know how far apart we're going to space them, but that's 17 feet from there to there. So I don't know, let's say a dozen or more. And then the roof, which is going to go from about here down, is roughly 10 feet long. So we need, 12 feet of 10 footers. And I don't know exactly the number I need because I don't know how big of boards we're going to get out of this. If we rip a huge slab out of the middle of this log, then we can cut that in half. We'll get 2 boards out of it. If they end up being, I don't know, 12 inches or something, then we don't have to put the rafters too close together. We can space them out and then we need less. Make sense? Only thing noticed on what I wrote down is the roof side to side is 14 feet. So it would be nice if I could get a couple of 14 footers. I don't know how I'm going to do that. My steel mill rails that I use all the time are 12.5 or 13 feet long, so I can only make like 12-foot boards. Although we do have the Granberg mill rails. I think that's 15 feet. We could do some 14s. So maybe if it works out, we'll get the last little bit there will be 14 feet, and we could get a few boards out of the narrowest part. Rock table here. This first log, actually all these logs, if they stay in this orientation, are going to be really fun to mill because they're going downhill. It kind of pulls the mill along a little extra. I'm going to have to cut this and hope to get this to land. Wow, I don't know, it's kind of balanced on that stump. I think there's a little more weight on this side. I'm hoping it doesn't roll off of there. Problem with logs like this is, as you know, I can't pull them anywhere. I have to mill them wherever they fall. And even picking something up this heavy with my log lifter, I don't know if it'll do it or not. Maybe we can wedge it in here a little bit. Watch your toes. Perfect. Ooh, we busted out the middle of that one a little bit. That was a lot of stinking weight. Look at the angle of that thing. That's fantastic. Never milled anything that was sitting at quite that angle. Whoops, got that one stuck. Think we can get this out of the way. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. That is a solid log. I don't deal in this kind of lumber generally. Jeez. I think we're gonna trim some sap before I stick my plate to it permanently. It's very, very seldom that I get to use the outside holes on this. Usually I use these 3 right in the middle that are about maybe 2 inches apart. Get to go a full like 10 inches or something on this one. Listen, you know there are 2 of these bars, yet you just watch me go get one of them and stand there. You'll warm up if you get moving around a little bit. Ooh, man, that's not quite gonna fit. We'll make do somehow. Yeah, that's gonna be a problem. They're just gonna slide down. See if that'll work. That'll work. Check it. Isn't that sweet? My old respirator was so shot. That thing was at least 10 years old, and the bands, the stretchy kept wearing out, so I'd replace it and use like staples and stuff to put new bands on it. This one's a step up. This was like 45 bucks or something, which is, you know, not bad since I use it all day, every day. But now I don't have to try to talk to you out the bottom of the respirator. It's pretty Pretty cool. I love clever inventions like this. It works so well, I actually have to hold it back. It's taking a lot of energy to keep it from just diving in. I think it'll be a lot easier when we get down to thicker slabs. Well, I wish I hadn't turned the camera off at the last moment there. As soon as I cut through that last little bit, the entire top board and rails and everything went sliding. Luckily it was low speed, so I got the chainsaw turned off way before it hit the ground. Plowed over my tripod and everything. Looks like it didn't break. It might partially be because the log's frozen. It's just slick. That saw is so amazing. And I'm really glad that I did years worth of milling with a tiny little saw before I went to this so I can really appreciate it. Yesterday I spent like 4 hours on the grinder sharpening a whole bunch of chains. I don't know how many it was. Giant thick stack of them. It's nice if you get a new milling saw to get a whole bunch of milling chains. I think when I got this saw I got 5 chains, so you know, I dull all 5, then I sharpen all 5. That way they wear consistently, and then when you go to file down the depth gauges, the rakers, you can just do them all at the same time, take them all down a little bit. I filed all 4 or 5 chains down yesterday, took the depth gauges down, and I think I overdid it a little bit. Which is nice, you don't have to put any pressure on the saw to get it to cut through this, but it bogs down a little bit much. Irregardless, it's really fun. Question is, am I going to be able to move these? This top one might not be too bad. Let's see how much it weighs. Oh, oh my gosh. Just brought a second board up here. It almost killed me carrying it up here, so I'm not carrying any more from that log. The problem is, if I put the giant ass boards on the four-wheeler, I won't be able to pull them up this hill. I'd have to like put a board or 2 on there and then winch myself up the hill, and doing that a whole bunch of times is not gonna fly out here. I could probably make it up that trail, which is the normal trail going up there, but I can't move either of those logs out of the way. So I think I'm gonna have to mill a board, pull the four-wheeler right next to it, put the board on, and then, I don't know, get a head of steam or something just to take it. It's only maybe 30 feet away. It's crazy I can't carry it up there, but I'm gonna blow something out if I continue trying it. Ooh, hey, look at that. We got a teeter-totter. I've been meaning to build a huge teeter-totter out here. Just haven't figured out how 2 people climb up 10 feet on both sides at the same time. We'll figure it out. Every single one I'm gonna have to ratchet strap on here too. I think since the four-wheeler's already on top, I ought to be able to get a couple on there. What do you think? Yeah? Yeah. Oh no. Okay. Now what do we do? I got an idea. We'll drag them. I think I'm gonna break something, but let's see. Crap. Well, 1 board at a time from now on, and then I could actually have it on the trailer. Oh, I guess we can winch it up here. kind of a lot of work. Life. We got 8 boards out of that one, and most of them are big enough to cut 2. Yeah, I should get 2, at least 2x10s, maybe 2x12s at each one. But that was a giant pain in the rumpus to get those boards up there, so I don't know, I'm gonna see, maybe if I pull these things downhill, I can get them twisted out of the way so I can make the loop. Sometimes I forget how much easier it is to skid logs on the snow. Can't exactly use the normal trail, but at least I can squeak through here and back up now. Oh, wow. Yeah, can't lift it. Well, I guess we'll just mill it right there. At least I can mill a few boards and then maybe I can pick it up. Man, that's crazy. It's that heavy. Got them all done. At least the 3 biggest ones there. There's going to be a trail of a couple feet of sawdust all the way up this hill for a couple years. So we got this guy left. I don't really think I'm going to be able to make those 2 big beams. They needed to be 14. I've got about 19 feet of straight log here. So if I took 14 out of this, then I'd just get a little crap log here that's not even worth milling. The end of it's actually too crooked down there to use. So let's see, I think we'll go a 10 and a 9. The only thing that's left kind of weird about this log is that's where the broken, bad, dead spot was. But the thing's still so thick that even if I mill off all the top of that right down to that bad spot, we'll still get a ton of good boards out of that thing. This is still a pretty good sized log here. 14, yeah, about 14 inches. Wouldn't be cheap to go to the store and get 2x14s 10 foot long, a whole stack of them, would it? It's crazy, we're getting pretty close to the shortest day of the year right now. The sun's setting and it's 4 o'clock. That's good. Sometimes you need a lot of time to unwind at the end of the day and eat and, you know, unwind and eat. Look at this place. I went to sleep, I woke up, all the snow's gone. I just slept like 12 hours straight, but I got all this milling done. I can't remember, did I say I was gonna mill everything before I got started building? I don't think I said that. I mean, if I did, just forget about it. Most importantly, I did get this log completely milled up. Look at that trail of sawdust. Isn't that crazy? I was gonna do this aspen log, but I was just too wasted, didn't have the energy. My knees kind of hurt from kneeling all that time. Plus, I don't have any place to put that lumber. Look at this pile. I actually have 2 piles of lumber. It's a little hard to explain how good it feels to be out of those clothes and into nice clean stuff. I wore the same jeans, the same shirt, the same hat for whatever that was, a week and a half, 2 weeks straight. Because especially milling pine like that, there's so much resin. Like, I destroyed two pair of gloves. My bibs are just cut. Every time I lifted up a board, the sap just got mashed in. And even my hat last night, I took it off, I put it over the heater. I think I went out, took a shower, came back in, and the smell of the cooking resin from it was almost nauseating. So I think that hat and definitely the gloves are getting thrown away. This is one impressive lumber pile. Those are 12 footers, those are 10 footers, and then maybe some like 9 footers on top. Yeah, like the vast majority of those I can't even pick up by myself, which is going to be interesting. I'll have to figure out some way to rip these all down to manageable sizes when we start building the frame for this thing. And then most of the 1.5 bys that weren't real solid, I think except for those 4 right there, I took out of here. So these are all cedar there, cedar logs down there, and then just a couple of spruce, or yeah, I think they're spruce. And all the tops and bottoms of each one of those pine logs, it's kind of hard to mill on the ground because they're so close to the ground down there. So I just brought them up here, threw them in a pile, and yesterday afternoon I came up here and milled all those, which was a lot easier when you can throw them on the sawhorses. But since those are the outside of the logs, it's all sapwood, like 100% sapwood. And after they sat for a couple days, the sap starts coming out of them. It made it almost impossible to mill because the mill's running on the top of the board that's just dripping with sap. But we do have all these as well. So those are the, I'm not even going to touch them. Those are the sheets of sap. And then there's a couple more not so great logs under there. Those big wide pine boards, 1-inch pine boards like that would be great for using for the roof ceiling boards. But come springtime when everything warms up, I don't know. I don't know if it's just gonna rain sap off of there. I don't really know what we're gonna do with those. And the problem is if you let these dry, if it's warm out, they cup really badly, like so they're unusable. So if I do want to use them for anything, I'm gonna have to use them while it's cold and nail them down. So other than not doing what I said I was going to do, which is milling all these logs up before I got started, I'm quite happy with what I got accomplished. The only thing that we're missing are going to be those 14-foot beams that I need. That's all right. You know, you imagine somebody just gave you a pile of lumber and said, build this thing for me. You'd just figure out how to do it. You guys saw the splices on the sky deck that Tito and I did. Those are like 17-foot boards we had to make up out of 12-footers. And that's actually how we did the gazebo. Remember, those were long beams that I had to lag bolt together. That was kind of fun to do, and it looks kind of cool. Appreciate everybody watching. We'll see you next. Is it almost the holidays? I think it is. So let's see. Next Saturday yeah, I think we might have to make some kind of a ringworm holiday special. We'll have to see. I might need 2 to 3 days worth of naps, and then we'll think about doing that. And then we'll start messing with this stuff, getting a floor together. We do a really heavy rectangle around here, floor joist going that way, and then some kind of support underneath. Best thing we can do right now is just, you know, not think about it. One day we'll walk out here, it'll be time to do it, and we'll just figure it all out. Thanks for watching. Catch you next week. It'll be almost Christmas. See you then.